Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, meteorologist Greg Majeski, your trusted weather source, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype here on your Monday, February 10th, 2025. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we're tracking here for the new week as we do have more snows in the offing. We got a couple of minor changes as far as the path of where that snow is going to fall. We're going to give you an update on that. We're going to talk about heavy rains into the southeast and as well as out on the west coast. And again, for the folks out on the west coast, it could be some problems in the form of mudslides. And we're also tracking another big Arctic outbreak coming in here as we head toward this upcoming weekend. Now, before we get going, we'd like to welcome the new followers, as always, here on the page. So thank you for subscribing. And if you haven't done so just yet, please hit that subscribe button at this time. Hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, please leave me a comment down below. Give me a thumbs up as it does help with the YouTube algorithm. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're seeing here for this morning. It's fairly quiet here across the eastern portion of the United States. Seeing some moisture here gathering here across the south central portion of the country. And quiet on the west coast here for the moment, but we have another system that's going to be approaching the area as we go for the next couple of days. Now, as we're looking at the big picture as far as watches and warnings, we have a developing winter storm. This is round one here. This is round two. This is your winter storm watches up here. So we have two separate rounds coming, one that's tracking this way, one that's tracking this way over the next couple of days, going for Tuesday and going into Wednesday as well. And you also see some fog down there this morning across portions of the southeast. All right, let's talk about the surface picture here. Look at this big Arctic cold up here. Minus 17, minus 22, minus 10. Yeah, it's pretty brutally cold up this way across the high plains. But not bad across the southeast. It has cooled down. The false spring that was there all last week has been kind of beat back a little bit here as we've got these progressively cooler air masses that have moved in across the region. Again, we're going to be watching this one developing storm system here. It's going to be moving in across the south and eventually moving into Virginia where they could see some heavier snows as we go into tomorrow. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of this precipitation out here on the North Carolina coast. Got some pretty good downpours south of Kitty Hawk, but otherwise not looking too bad here. And then there's also another part of the components we're going to watch this week is we are expecting a few thunderstorms. And there is even a slight risk we may see some severe weather, but not today. Today's not looking bad as we take a look at the Storms Prediction Center Day 1 outlook. So we're looking at a general thunderstorm threat. This will be kind of late tonight going into tomorrow morning here across Oklahoma and into Texas with your Day 1 outlook. Now, as far as the other days are concerned, we'll go ahead and track those as well. So looking at your Day 2, you'll see it there kind of encompassing a bigger area there across the southeast. So we're talking Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, getting into that. That's your Day 2. And then going into Day 3, that's when we're expecting the marginal risk to kind of kick in here. Again, strong gusty winds and maybe an isolated tornado. Couldn't rule that out here. We're talking Louisiana, Mississippi, and parts of Alabama as we go into Day 3. So we're talking about Wednesday going into your Thursday with that chance right there. Now, the other part of this as well, obviously, is going to be the heavy rain threat. Now, today is not going to be a problem. So today is definitely the quieter days of the week, that's for sure. Now, as we go into your Day 2, you're going to see the heavy rain threat there across the southeast. This is where it's going to predominantly be. That yellow area, especially, is where the heavier rainfall amounts are going to fall from Tennessee back over toward Louisiana. And that doesn't change much for Day 3. Day 3, generally in the same area. And we're also going to add a marginal risk here along the west coast as well with another storm system coming in out there. So these are the two zones we'll be watching for heavy rains as we go into Tuesday and going into Wednesday. That's your Day 3 going into your Wednesday time period. So we already highlighted those two hazards. The other hazards we're going to have to watch here over the next 3 to 7 days, obviously, is the fact we got a heavy snow threat here across the top here and across the northeast as well, with several opportunities for snow and a little windy here. Got a little bit of windy weather out here as well across portions of the Intermountain region here with the brown in that zone right there. So let's go ahead and talk about the short-term forecast. We're going to be looking at the high-resolution model as always up first, and we'll go ahead and pull that up here. This will kind of take us through the next, say, 40 hours or so. What we're going to be watching is we got this moisture here that's going to be increasing and coming this way, and then we're going to watch another moisture coming in here off the Intermountain region as well. So today's not bad. We just got a little rain there across Texas and Louisiana. Not bad. There's a little snow there across areas of Iowa, but it's going to be going into tonight and into tomorrow with things to get a little bit dicey as the storm system gets organized. You start seeing the snow there on the northern periphery of this start to break out there across portions of Missouri, Kentucky, and getting into Virginia as we go in throughout the day on Tuesday, especially Virginia. Virginia's looking at kind of the ground zero here for the heavier snows moving into that area. going throughout the day on your Tuesday, and this will get up pretty close to the nation's capital as well, Richmond, with that heavier snow moving on through. And that heavy rains will be training across the southeast from Texas and across Mississippi into Alabama and Tennessee. And then you see the signs for that second system. This is the second one. So this one's going to track this way, and this one's tracking to the south. So the good news here is last week we were kind of tracking, looked like the Northeast was going to be ground zero on getting the more significant snows. Looks like they're not. It'll be kind of a glancing blows, but there's a third opportunity down the pipeline. So we'll talk about that here in just a second. Now we're going to look at the European jet stream here. Of course, the jet stream is the river bear that drives the weather conditions across the country. And what I'm looking for here is when we get the big dips in the jet stream, there are certain configurations that support severe weather, and there's a few of those that I'm going to highlight here. Now we do have this initial little dip here coming into Wednesday and Thursday. This is the kind of a little dip here. It's not very pronounced, but it's there. You're kind of seeing the two jets kind of splitting right through there. So that's that marginal risk we've got going into Wednesday and Thursday on your day 3 outlook. So that's that one. That one doesn't look overly bad. But going into this upcoming weekend, as we go in towards your Saturday and Sunday, this was a little more pronounced. As you can see here, this one has got a little bit of a negative tilt to it, slightly. So when it's a negative tilt, that means additional wind shear, different spin to the atmosphere here. So obviously we're talking about areas here across the deep south that needs to be watched going into Saturday and Sunday with that particular event. And then as we go forward, we'll have another one behind this going in toward next week we'll need to watch. This one, again, going in toward Wednesday and Thursday. Again, watching the deep south with that changing dip in the jet stream right there. So we have 3 different opportunities for severe weather that I'm tracking here as far as the overall jet stream flow. So it looks like we're in store for a pretty cold week going in toward next week, that's for sure. And then toward the tail end of this run, this jet stream looks like it begins to, the cold air begins to retreat because the main jet flow looks like it's going back to the north. Here's the subtropical again, kind of splitting up. And that usually indicates we'll see things begin to modify there across the middle of the country here as we go toward, say, the 23rd, 24th, and 25th. But the overall trend, at least the next 7 to 10 days, is definitely looking colder for sure. Now let's go ahead and track the precipitation. We talked about the one storm system there that we got coming in here, coming in toward this upcoming Tuesday. So this is storm system number 1. This is up in our snows here. Here's storm system number 2. We're going to track that snow event behind this one. So here's number 2. Number 1 pulls off the coast. Number 2 goes across the Midwest. So these are areas like Iowa and northern Missouri and Illinois. They have not seen a lot of snow this year, that's for sure. And this will move up and across the Great Lakes. There will be a freezing rain component again to this. Once again, look at that. Pennsylvania, they had it twice last week, and they're looking at getting it yet again going in toward Wednesday and into Thursday. So we're talking about the 12th and 13th there. Then this pulls on through. We'll see that we get a break going into Friday. Looks like the eastern half. Then we still got a very active flow out here in the west. Obviously, some heavy rains here across the areas of Southern California. We'll go into Thursday and into Friday. And then we'll see the rains quickly come back across the southeast with this next storm system. This is the one we'll have to watch with that developing area of low pressure here moving in. We got snows on the northern part of that. And we'll see the heavy rains once again across the southeast once again. So this will move on through, and going into Saturday, we'll have to watch that area down here across areas of Mississippi, Louisiana, and going to Alabama. We'll have to watch that for another potential severe weather event with that. It really just kind of depends on how mild it gets out ahead of that next system. So this pushes on through going into your Sunday morning. So looks like areas there in North Georgia will see the temperatures kind of falling throughout the day there going into your Sunday morning for sure, and much colder temperatures. Look at the 540 line. Something we've not seen a lot here across the southeast for sure. As it's dipped further south, we've got the very cold air wrapping in behind that system going in toward President's Day on the 17th. And of course, we got yet another storm system out here on the northwest and into Northern California as those parade of storm systems continues out toward the west as well. Now, as we go into next week, we get a couple days to kind of catch our breath briefly, but as we head toward the 20th, we get another storm system here, another low pressure there across Arkansas. We'll see snows on the northern part of that. And once again, we'll watch the southeast once again going in toward your Wednesday, the 19th and 20th, for the potential for some more active severe weather there going into the day on Wednesday. So it is that time of year, folks in Deep South, Tornado Alley, Dixie Alley, we sometimes refer it to as, needs to be on the watch here as we've got 3 different opportunities for severe weather. And yeah, hey, look at that. There we go. Yet again, we get to freezing rain across Pennsylvania once again. Snows on the backside of this as this storm system moves off. This is going on the 19th and 20th, and this pushes up to the northeast, and this pushes off. We get one more cold shot coming across the Great Lakes here. Obviously, you got a little polar piece of the polar vortex breaking off there across the Great Lakes. One more chill heading toward the 22nd. And then as that pulls on off, looks like temperatures begin to moderate because once I go to the end of this run, I notice the 540 line, it has moved way up here toward the north. So big part of the country will begin to warm up quickly once that next cold shot comes down on the 22nd. So let's go ahead and talk about precipitation. We're going to break this down first. We'll talk first the first 72 hours, the next 3 days. Let's look at this first. So as we go through the next 72 hours here, obviously we've got the heavy rains here across the south. We start bringing the rains here on the west coast as well. And some of this, of course, will be in the form of snow. We'll talk about snow totals here in just a second. And then take this out to 240 the next 10 days. Again, very, very wet here across the southeast. You're seeing it really pegging there and up and down the west coast as well with some very active and very heavy rainfall amounts there. I'll go ahead and take this all the way out so you can kind of see the next 2 weeks looking very, very wet, especially across the southeast. In fact, we kind of look at the 2-week totals in here. You're looking at some significant rains in here across portions of Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, North Georgia, upwards of 7 to 8 inches of rain showing up into this area as we go for the next 2 weeks. West Coast also looking at heavier rains, not quite as bad, but you're seeing 3 to 4 inches rains up along the northwest, and Southern California also looking at 2 to 4 inches down there as well over the next couple of weeks. So again, as we're in this transition zone, we're going to kind of heading towards spring. Winter's not done. We have to watch for those battlegrounds set up for, obviously, for freezing rain. So we do have these 2 events here short term, which is going to a little opportunity for some freezing rain in here. And boy, we saw the problems it caused last week. We may see it yet again with this week. So we do have a couple of opportunities for this again, and then going to that storm system this weekend also need to be watched. Going to next week, you're seeing a lot of heavy freezing rain here across the northeast, potentially going in toward the end of next week. So we'll track that on the short term because, you know, the deviations in the track can really make a big difference on whether you get rain, whether you get freezing rain, or whether you get snow. So we'll keep that in mind. But as far as the short term, we'll back this up here for the next 72 hours. A little bit across Virginia, and just a very sliver track there between the rain and the snow there from Oklahoma heading up into the Midwest. Now, snow totals. Let's talk about the snow. That's the big thing. We got 2 different snow events here short term, all right? So we got the first one. This is the one coming in across the mid-Atlantic. So talking about Virginia, looks like that's where the heaviest snows are going to be. That's snow event number 1 for this week. And then we got snow event number 2. Behind that, that'll go into that'll go out of the plains from Kansas and stretching up and toward areas of say Michigan, stuff like that. So let's talk about the east here. Again, you're looking at snow totals here in that pink band here. Looks like 9, maybe 10 inches of snow there, showing up there, and then you got this 6 to 8 inch plume back here with the second storm from Missouri, Illinois, stretching up toward Michigan, going into Canada. So, but notice we're kind of missing it. Before, there was kind of showing a bullseye right on the northeast. Now it's kind of diverging a little bit, where the northeast does not appear to be getting quite as much snow, at least for these initial 2 systems that are coming our way right now. And if I take this all the way out to the 240 mark, you know that the next storm does hit up there toward the northeast. With that, and then you got the other storm system there. So northeast may not get as much snow as what was originally showing last week because the 2 storm tracks diverged just a little bit. Heavy snows out here in the west, obviously. The Intermountain region will continue to stay pretty snowy out there as well. And we'll go ahead and take this on out for the entire 360. Notice those last storm systems try to dump some heavy snows up there across the northeast. But again, storm track is key. If this one thing it shows from what we were showing last week to this week is that a difference in those storm tracks can make a big difference on how much snow your particular area is going to see or may not see. All right, let's talk temperature here. All right, so we've got the cool down. We said goodbye to that fall spring conditions, especially across the deep south here. Again, the trend is for colder temperatures here across a big part of the country. Still holding that above normal there, just right along the Gulf Coast there. We got some very bitterly cold air across the areas of Montana and over toward Idaho here for this upcoming week going toward Wednesday. Eventually, this is going to move off. So as these 2 air masses clash, again, we might see some severe weather. We were talking about that going Wednesday and Thursday, going into Alabama. in Mississippi and Louisiana. So that's our first one. This kind of pushes on in and cools things off this weekend. And then it kind of warms up a little bit there on the back end as we're waiting for that next more potent cold shot to come down as we head towards Saturday and Sunday. So this pushes in. Look at the clash here. Clearly got a nice cold front coming in here. And we'll have to watch and see if we get any severe weather to fire up with that clash as well across Louisiana and back over toward Alabama and Georgia as we go into your Saturday and Sunday. This moves on through. Let me clear that out. And this goes on through, and then things really get very cold there across the eastern third of the United States. A little bit modification, a little bit of red out there toward the west, but very bitterly cold there across areas of the Midwest there, Illinois, Wisconsin, looking pretty cold, that's for sure. Looks like about 20 to 30 degrees below average there for their high temperatures going into President's Day. And it stays kind of cool there in the east, and for most of the week, got a little brief, warm up there. Remember, we got one more severe weather event we got to watch heading toward the 20th. And you'll see that right there. Obviously, you got the clash of the air masses right through there with that cold air coming down there and plashing down into there on the 19th and 20th. And then that pulls on through. Looks like a lot of the nation's pretty chilly on the 21st and 22nd. But as we go toward the end of the run, remember that jet stream goes right back up toward the north here. So it's kind of cold into the 22nd for the eastern half. You almost cut the country in half here. Warmer here and colder out here. As we head toward the 22nd, and then we'll see a lot of the country warm up there. Nice modification there heading toward the 24th. Looks like a lot of the nation begins to warm up here as we head toward the end of February. So let's look at the climate outlook here. As far as we break this down, looks like everything's lining up here as temperatures have backed off except for Florida. Still seeing the above normal temperatures there. But your 6 to 10 day outlook, the 15th to the 19th, very, very cold here across the high plains. That is for sure. And a lot of the nation here looking quite chilly with below normal temperatures here, 17th to the 23rd. Now, beyond the 23rd, going to the 24th, as we just showed you on the model run, we do see this kind of quickly moving on out, and we see temperatures begin to moderate a little bit as we head toward the end of the month. Precipitation-wise, obviously a very, very active storm flow here, continuing the 15th to the 19th on the 6 to 10 day. And then that backs off just a little bit, just the southeast and up here toward the high plains and Intermountain region here with above normal precipitation. And then the southwest begins to dry out a little bit. Obviously, California's getting hit with some much needed rains out there. They'll get a little bit of a break here as we head from the 17th to the 23rd for right now. So a very active next 7 to 10 day period, that is for sure. For right now, we're tracking those 2 snowstorms. And again, we have to start talking about severe weather. Right now, I'm looking at 3 potential severe weather events. Nothing that looks like it's off the charts. Very typical for this time of year, starting in the southeast. So you folks across the southeast, you guys need to make sure you have these weather radios like these. Make sure you have those things ready to go, or you got your favorite weather app going here, and make sure you stay up to date on the potential changes, because they'll change from day to day. Obviously, we're talking about severe weather, and then obviously the winter weather we got to deal with as well. Again, I'd like to welcome all the new followers here on the page, and if you're not yet subscribed just yet, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And as always, if there's something you'd like to see, or if you got a weather question, please post that down below. I'll be more than happy to answer your question. All right, that's your weather update for today. You guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you on the next update. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.